Good afternoon, boys and girls. Here's chapter 8 of The Flying Flea, Callie, and Me. After some time in practice, my tossing got much better. Flea's catching improved too. We could get that bird fed in just a few minutes. I had some trouble with my mouse catching though. As soon as I crept into the hayfield and the mice spotted the bird on my back, they started laughing. Now, it should be easy to catch a giggling mouse, but somehow it was embarrassing to have your snacks laughing at you. Flea, you are going to have to hide down in my fur, I moaned. These mice aren't taking me seriously. Take your time, Gray. Look them in the eye. When they see that you mean business, they won't laugh at you. Good advice from a parasite bird. Flea tucked herself into my fur and the chase began. I looked those mice in the eye, and sure enough, it was no time at all before I had a trophy to take back to the house. As we walked past the woodpile, Flea began grabbing my fur and tugging on my fur. Gray, there's the snake, she cheeped. So? I looked at the woodpile. Curled up near the bottom of the tree was the snake. He raised his head. Clinging to my hair, Flea began to bounce up and down. Hurry, Gray, get away! That's Bull Snake. But Mama warned me about snakes. She said that snakes are as bad as cats when it comes to eating baby birds. I rolled my eyes to look up at her. I thought you wanted to be eaten. That's what you kept saying yesterday. Eat me. That was yesterday when I was starving. Now that my tummy is full, I don't want to be eaten. I started to explain to Flea that Bull Snake wouldn't bother her. All he wanted was to be left alone. But Snake had already disappeared under logs, so I didn't bother. Let's see what's going on at the house. I hurried to the porch and put my trophy on the mat. When I jumped up onto the rocking chair, Callie looked up at us from the concrete. I see you still have your little snack on your back, she purred. We've been hunting for mice. It won't be long before it gets cold, Callie winced when she stretched out her paws. How do you know? I asked. Arthritis. Callie flinched again when she arched her back. My old bones and joints get kind of sore when a cold front is coming in. I glanced at the front door. Does the mama let you in when it gets cold? Yes. Do you think she'll let me come in too? Yes, I think so. I smiled. No problem. I will enjoy spending more time in the house. It makes me almost look forward to winter. But you do have one little problem, Callie said. She didn't look me in the eye when she spoke. I felt my eyes roll upward, trying to follow her glance. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Do you think the mama will let her come in too? Callie shot me a disgusted look. How about the barn then, I suggested. Callie rolled her eyes. The rats would love that. My whiskers twitched. Surely we can find somewhere warm for her to spend the winter. Callie rested her chin on her crossed paws. Even if you could find a warm place for her to spend the winter, what would she eat? There aren't any bugs. Even the earthworms go deep into the ground. Your bird cannot spend the winter here. Birds fly south for the winter. That's just how things are. I twisted my neck as far as I could. Flea was nestled down into my fur and fast asleep. But she can't fly, I whispered. Is she hurt? Callie asked. No. Is she sick? No. I think she's just scared. She fell out of the nest when she was very little, and ever since she's been afraid of heights. Her little wings are very strong. I can feel them when she flaps on my back. Callie sighed and shook her head. Your little Flea must fly south for the winter. If she won't fly, then she will die. What can I do? I don't know how to fly. Callie shrugged. Then she closed her eyes and went to sleep. But I couldn't go to sleep. All I could do was lie there and wonder, how could I help this pesky Flea? We spent the afternoon with a flying lesson. I ran across the yard. Flea flapped her little wings. She hopped up and tried to catch the wind, but each time Flea fell back on me. Hop and flutter. Flea tried again and again to fly. I flattened my ears against my head and ran as fast as I could. We raced up and down the yard for hours, exhausted. I tumbled to the concrete porch. We'd try again after a nap. A scratching on my back woke me up. Flea was pecking and grabbing at me. Gray, look out! There's that snake again! I opened my eyes wide. The brown snake was crawling across the yard toward the woodpile. He stopped and looked back at us. I jumped up on the rocking chair to get a better view. Bull Snake gave a quiet hiss and crawled on toward the woodpile. He's trying to get me. Mama warned me about snakes, the little bird cheeped. You're safe with me. I'll take care of you, I meowed. I've got to learn how to fly. Quick! Flea sounded desperate. We spent another hour fluttering and hopping, running and flapping before we finally went to the field for a quick snack. I caught a few grasshoppers for Flea and a couple of field mice for me. I even took a trophy home to put on by the front door. The house mama found it as soon as she stepped out. Now, she always looked at the map before walking out onto the porch, especially if she didn't have her shoes on. When she came outside, I flattened myself against the wall. If Mama saw me, she might try to give me a tummy rub. That would be very nice, but I was afraid that she would toss Flea into the yard like she did my trophies. So I tried to disappear into the brick behind the swing. Mama called Callie and finally found her between the rose bushes. She picked her up carefully and carried her inside. Flea was safe for today. Hey, Flea, we have to find some way for you to get off my back just for a little while. I need a good tummy rub from my mama. I suddenly missed those rubs that I got from her. Find me some dirt to dig in, Gray, Flea chirped. I could use a nice juicy worm. Those grasshoppers are very dry. I went to the flower garden in the backyard where I had seen the dog digging. The dirt was soft there. Muffy was sound asleep in a patch of sunlight at the far side of the yard. I'm not worried about sliding off, but how will I get back on? Flea moaned. We'll come up with something. Carefully, the bird let go and plopped quietly onto the soft dirt. I'll be right back, Flea. I shook my whole body and I walked back to the front porch. Meow! I yelled at the top of my voice. I had to get my tummy rubbed. Meow! I repeated. Finally, I reached my front paws up to the middle of the screen door. I stretched out my claws and scratched the screen. I made as much noise as I could. It didn't take long before I heard the mama coming. Gray, where have you been? Mama reached down and picked me up. She sat on the swing and petted me. She started with my ears and chin, then my back and tail. I was feeling quite sleepy by the time she finished with my tummy. It's late, Gray. I have to go in. She set me down on the rocker and walked to the door. With a gentle smile, she closed it behind her. Suddenly, I remembered Flea and hurried to the backyard. The old dog was still asleep in the far corner. What took you so long, Gray? I've been finished with my hunt for a long time. Sorry. Mama's tummy rub felt better than I thought. I had to let her finish. Just remembering it made me purr. Get me out of here. That snake could show up any time. He might be able to smell my fluffy feathers. I flattened myself down on the dirt. Flea took a big hop and fluttered her wings. I could feel her sharp claws grab my fur. Hop and flutter. Each day, Flea got better. She really improved when I stopped catching her food. I was totally sneaky about the way I did it, too. When it came to catching grasshoppers, I pretended to get clumsy. I kept pouncing, only I would miss every time. Finally, Flea told me to get close to the grasshoppers, then stop. She could jump on them. Each time I stopped farther and farther from the grasshoppers. It wasn't long before Flea would swoop from my back and grab one. As soon as she gobbled it down, she hopped, gave a flap of her wings, and zoomed back to my head. Flea really could fly. She just didn't know it. Not yet. Tomorrow, Chapter 9.